Namaste everybody, welcome back. I'm doing something a little bit different. I do play chess, so it's going to be a day of going through the chess pieces and talking through it, I guess. Let's walk through it. We're talking about defending. We're talking about defending pieces. So a chess piece is made up of, I think, total of 16 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 on each section, on each side. And you have the white side and then the black side. Now this particular design of chess was, I think it's like from Ireland originally, and it was originally made from ivory. And this particular one is used in the Harry Potter movie. Not this particular one, but this design. So this is a mock-up of the one that Harry Potter would have had, the school would have had. Okay, so let's talk about the pieces. We have the castle, the rook or the castle. In this case, this is the rook. Okay. This moves, say we don't have that piece. This moves like this, vertical and then horizontal. Okay, that moves vertical and horizontal. So this moves up and down. No diagonal, no jumping over, no nothing. This is just one straight, but it can go back and forth. So it doesn't have to just go, it can go backwards as well. It doesn't just go straight up. You can move it around. As long as there are no pieces in the way, it should be fine. Okay. Knight. Okay, the knight goes in an L shape. Any direction in the L shape, as long as, I think, right? You can jump over things with the horse. As long as it's not your piece, right? As long as it's, so say for instance you have this piece, okay, and you say you've already done that, okay. Oh no, you can take from, no, my bad. You will have to take, you can only take from there, you can't jump over. Or yeah, in theory you can. Right? No, you only take from here, from the end. You only take from the end over there, okay. Put that back. Okay. There's that. There's the bishop. This one's a bit different. The designs are different. This is much older. This is the bishop on this chessboard. Okay, so this is diagonal. So anything that's on the white, for instance, this goes like this, right? You can go back and forth as long as you stick to the diagonal. There's another one over here which is on the left. Okay, this one is on the black. So there's one that does white and there's one that does black. Okay, diagonal. As long as there's nothing in the way, you could probably take, not probably, you can definitely say for instance that's there, you can take and jump over. Okay. No, you just go ahead. Yeah. So you're moving that piece over there. Okay, so that's over there. Okay. Okay. So now we have queen. Which is the king? Is this the king? This is the king. The king should go over here. Sorry. I always get that wrong. I don't know why I keep forgetting. So the queen is smaller than the king, but the queen is more powerful than the king. So if you lose your king, it's called checkmate. Okay, if you lose your king, if this is taken out, okay, say for instance you have, let's use a horse. Let's use a bishop. Let's use a knight. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Okay, third move and the fourth move, the horse is the king is taken out. That's checkmate. But you know, obviously you would have seen that because you're playing the game, right? So that's checkmate. That would be checkmate. So that's, I guess the king is supposed to be. Yeah, that's the king. So the king is to the right and the queen is to the left. Okay. So the king moves one move. It can go back and forth, but it can only move one move. Okay. One move. It doesn't have much power. At least on this. It's powerful because the game ends, right? So that's why the queen protects the king on many occasions. And you have to make sure you know all the pieces in order to understand how you can save your pieces, right? Okay. Your queen, I'll do the pawns last. So, okay, so you have two of these, two knights that are on different colors, and two rooks or castles that are on different colors. Just make sure that they don't, you know, it's split into black and white. Okay. So now we got the pawn. The pawn is an interesting character. So it moves one. Moves one. Diagonal, it can take a piece, right? It can take a piece diagonally. Nothing you can do, so when something's in the way, something's in the way. You have to leave it there. Okay. So these can protect your pieces if you are wise about how you go about positioning your particular pieces at the beginning of the game. So say you have the knight that comes out, and then somebody else comes in and does that, right? And then maybe, for instance, oh, you can start with two. Okay, so then so this turn, let's do 1, 2. Yeah, you can do 2 moves at the beginning and that's it. You can't do any other moves. I think the pawns can only move one way. They cannot move backwards. Okay, so that can take the pawn. The queen can now take the knight. So you don't want to do that. You want to keep an eye on your pieces and make sure that you're protecting them and keeping an eye on where all the pieces are placed. Okay. So that's just the general idea. So you have the pawn in the front. Okay, so there are all these pieces over here. So let's just say I'm setting up I'm going to start over again. You're going to watch me set up the board. I'm sure these are not ivory. I think this is clay or resin. Wouldn't be surprised. Okay, so we're going to start over again. I'm going to put down, since I'm the only person playing here, I'm going to put the pawns down first. Just because say I'm using the white. Usually what would happen is you decide, you put this in the back of and then the person would choose which color they would do from choosing something from the back of your back. So the knight goes second to the end. The bishop goes next to that. I guess the queen is to the left and the king is to the right. Okay. And then the castles or the rooks. Okay. Again, same thing. Rook. King and queen. Okay. So at the beginning you can make 1, 2 moves, I believe. Okay, so it's at the beginning you can make 2 moves if you really want to, right? I would recommend just doing 1, just in case something happens, but you could in theory do 2, right? 1, 2. Because if you open it up too much, these pieces are going to be very, they're going to be compromised. So the best is to keep these the closest. You want the pawns as close as possible at the beginning, until it starts opening up and then you see the other person's pieces coming in. Okay. So let's say we're doing another pawn over there. So each person takes a turn. I'm going to open up. I'm going to use this move. I'm going to do that pawn. So the queen can come out now. Okay, so if I move any of these, we're going to have a problem. That queen can move. Okay, so we're leaving that there. What I can do is use this. So the queen can come out, but it's blocked. Okay, so you can move those 2 moves at the beginning. 1, 2, right? Okay, so that's safe. Let's say, how many pieces? Let's say I did put the queen out over there. Okay, so the queen was going to have to, since I pulled this out afterwards, the queen will have to decide. So you can actually, in theory, take that. So we're going to say we're going to take that, okay? But if the queen takes that, you can take the queen with the knight, because it goes in an L shape, okay? So there are lots of things you need to keep an eye on when you're playing a game of chess. It's important to know the pieces. You need to know how the pieces move. It's 1, 2. Okay, and then we're going to do like that as well. Let's say we pulled the queen out. Let's say we pulled the queen out. Okay, let's say we started off with taking out that. Okay, it's going to be putting everything in jeopardy here. That would be sort of like a bad move. You wouldn't want to touch that unless you have reason to, and say for instance the person is not watching and all of a sudden they do something like this. Right? Then that queen and the king is open. So what I would then do is, no, I wouldn't do that. That would create a checkmate. Because now you've used the queen. I don't think the queen can be taken. And hold it. I think you're allowed to hold it before you decide that that is where you're going to put it, okay? Once your finger's taken off, that's it. That's the end of the story. So that could initially, that's a checkmate right there. The queen could in fact put itself there, and then it could in theory take my queen, if you want to put it that way. So now you have to think, if the queen is going to be taken, how can you make sure that queen is protected? A pawn can protect it. Okay. So there are many things you need to do, but I think the first step is to understand what the pieces do, okay, and how to make them move around, and how these pieces, yeah. So the whole point is to show people how to protect the parts, the pieces. Every one of the pieces has a different move, a different role, a different position. Okay. And that's basically a quick chit-chat or a chat. I'm not going to get too much into it because I just want to do a small video. And that's it. ありがとうございました。また明日さよなら。じゃあね、バイバイ。